It's related to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is perhaps the most requested video we've ever had. We've had so many people sending us DMs about this issue, and there's allegations of corruption. Mormon Mafia is trending again, and Baylor and I,
This time it's true.
it's true. We're a part of it. Us too. We are.
So we will be defending the American Fort Police Department.
No, we will not be doing that. But since this involves local governments, we brought in our friend Kai Truman, who knows a lot more about local government than we do, and we're happy to have him in here.
Thanks for having me. I'm part of the acronym is MOG, the Mormon Occupied Government.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep, I'm a mogger as well.
Yep, we MOG. We are MOG. We are these. Where we go, what we show on.
Yeah, so I'm actually a little bit of a different brand of what's called a classical mogger. So like I believe in being the unlogged mogger.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm power maxing, dollars maxing,
Lead maxing.
Book maxing. Books maxing.
books maxing. That's good.
Go for it.
Copies of the lips of Mormons maxing.
Like, I'm just excited to be here. Pick up the pieces,
Yeah.
build up this narrative,
Well, like
brick by brick.
Good. So we need to put this together with the viewer. If you haven't seen, this is Reckless Ben. He is a YouTuber, crazy stuff for a while. But things have really come to a head recently when he decided to help a man. His Legos were stolen by the company Bricks and Minifigs.
Mm.
The reason we get roped into this is because Bricks and Minifigs happens to be owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And things were going okay, I think, in his investigation. It's in Utah. The department got involved. The thing gets arrested. Not a good look for us. But what do people need to know about that?
God, you want to, first, this is an origin issue. This all starts in there. This is not, I didn't start here. Let me just clear that out.
shady stuff is going on in other states as well.
Okay, so it's not just us.
Utah Mormons are doing shit in other states too.
Those are those other, the out of state.
And the non-men. But I don't think anyone would.
Yeah.
I know about Josh when involved.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that's basically where this starts, is you've got this Bricks and Minifig store in Oregon, where there's a contract written out by the South family. These guys own a collection of $200,000 worth of Legos, a lot of original Star Wars stuff, huge collection. They claim it's the biggest in the world, most expensive in the world. I don't know if that's true. And you can just say that, I don't know. But it's
Why really? We went to Bricks and some of these Lego sets. I was looking at the inventory, the Manziel inventory, and I think these actually might theirs.
so.
And we got them on consignment, which means that we just stole
No, we actually got them on consignment from Luke. Thank you, Luke, for giving us these on consignment.
Happy to help.
They trade
them. Yeah, no, you're not getting it back. You're not. Good luck, buddy. You're good. All right.
The store has $200,000 of Legos. They're on consignment.
Yeah. And then basically the way that this works, right, is if the Legos are sold in the store, which is where they're being kept, until they're sold, they're still the property of the Mansell family. The understanding is as well, I mean, it's not very clear, but the Eric Mansell is the father, this older gentleman that had the collection. He's going through some health troubles, compounds this, and they basically like pawn these items, right?
Yeah, that's why they sell this beloved collection.
Exactly. So there's this emotional, there's the pathos of the story. And the original deal with the original owner there of the store is when they're sold, they're going to get a cut of the profits. There's a change in ownership of the location, and the Mansell family goes in. They want the Legos. The guys say, "I don't know anything about that. Kick these people out of the store."
Yeah.
And
So sue me if you want. I'll make sure that the lawsuit's more than any of the Legos.
Exactly. And so now there's this conflict of the new owners not assuming the actual different parts of the contract. Yeah. Although legally, the Legos are still owned by the Mansell family, according to the contract.
Yeah, when Reckless Ben had provided footage, the previous owner kept the security footage that shows Josh, the owner of Bricks and Minifigs, or one of the others, acknowledging the consignment agreement. And she's saying, "Hey, I haven't paid these guys yet." He says, "No, get out."
Mm-hmm.
So that's all pretty well documented. It's the type of thing where there could be two sides to any story, of course, but as you're watching it, and we'll try to play devil's advocate and poke holes where we can, because most of this is Reckless Ben's take on things, but he brings receipts, man.
He does.
It's really hard.
There's two sides to every story, and sometimes one side is just way worse than the other.
Sometimes one side's right, one side's wrong.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, no matter what the other side of the story is, Reckless Ben has enough receipts that he pulls up authentically of conversations where the owner is very clearly contradicting himself.
Yes.
And I think that's the big, is like he oscillates between, we don't have them, we do have them, you're getting them back, you're not. And so, although, yeah, certainly we'll get into stuff that maybe, maybe he did come to a rolling stop instead of stopping all the way to stops.
Yeah, we get to that. So then what they decide to do is they decide to kind of find some legal loophole to say, you know what, we can't really afford this $200,000 lawsuit, but we can do a small claims lawsuit. Small claims only go to $10,000. Well, somehow they trade Legos with each other. I'm a little confused how this works, but they're able to file 10 small claims lawsuits.
Yes.
Against the Oregon Bricks and Minifix store.
Yeah.
Bricks and Minifix don't respond to any of these lawsuits, so they default, and they supposedly owe $100,000 on these. They close down the store to avoid paying. So now we have second phase of the lawsuit. They're going to sue the owners personally, directly, rather than the Oregon franchise. And they're trying to serve these guys, and the court requires them to have a good faith conversation, and then it requires them to serve the documents in person.
Yeah.
And in the process of trying to serve these documents in person,
this is in Utah now.
Yeah, now they're in Utah. They're in American Fork and Sandy, where we're from, unfortunately. And I mean, I love Sandy. Unfortunately, it had to be one of us. Didn't want it to be one of us.
They're not one of us.
It's always awkward when you have to pull over a YouTuber. So I'm sorry. I feel for you guys.
Yeah, hate to see it. So, but the police are very resistant to helping these papers get served. And we have body cam footage from one of the police calling the court in Oregon, confirming that they're real papers. And we have police coming to these guys' house at night, claiming they have heroin on them.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Yeah. Obviously don't find any heroin. And then ultimately they come and swat them with guns drawn into their Airbnb. It's a bad look. Really bad look.
So you might be wondering how this ties into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So Ben, in his original video, I thought was very fair towards Latter-day Saints. Like we said, the owners of this Bricks and Minifix store are not in the church, from what we can tell. But he kind of talks with Brian, right? Yeah. Brian talks with Brian, the son of the person who had his Legos stolen. And Brian gives this description of what he thinks is going on, and he kind of alleges that these policemen are defending Josh and Brandon because they're members of the church.
It's an order.
So this is where the church starts to get drawn into this. This is what Brian says.
Still waiting in the car to serve Josh. I got a phone call, and this call was from Brian, the collector's son, who got all their stuff stolen. He has a theory of what might be going on here.
They're definitely all in the community, and being Bricks and Minifix part of that. Millions of them, no doubt that they have donated empty sums to the Mormon Church, of which all the cops are probably a part of.
Yeah, Brandon Chest, Joshua Johnson, and Bateman, the CEO, are all super Mormon. The CEO even went to the Mormon University.
Amen, by the way.
I love how the mark of being super Mormon is that you go to one of the biggest colleges.
Yeah, with 30,000 students.
Where'd you guys go to school?
That's
amazing.
We are super Mormon.
So we're 3 super Mormons.
Yeah, we do the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I think this is where we need to push back a little bit and qualify what we're saying here. I understand how someone could come to this conclusion if they don't know a lot about the church, but what's a lot less likely than basically the theory is, hey, these guys are supposedly they're millionaires, and Mormons donate 10% of their income to the church as their tithes, and so these guys are big donors to the Mormon Church.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the Mormon Church does not know who these guys are.
We don't know you like that, bro.
When you think
We
about
are the church.
We're a lot closer to that trillion figure.
Yeah, when you think about big donors to the Mormon Church, you're talking about the Marriotts. You're talking about like big. We're not about bricks and things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people would be really surprised how many Mormon-owned businesses there are. A lot of wealthy Mormons. These guys are not on that radar, and even if they were, this idea that like the church would be like, "Hey, can you tell the American Fork Police Department to bail these guys out because we need their tithing money?" Like, it's not a good thing.
I don't think anyone with a brain thinks that the church is actually telling the police to do it.
But I think a lot of people think
Some people might, yeah, they don't have a brain, or they haven't thought about it, or they don't know what they're talking about. But something that people might reasonably conclude, even though it's wrong, is that like the cops are just like, oh no, they donate to my church, like we got to defend them.
Yeah.
But that's also just unbelievably silly. Like, I do not care if there are people committing theft or fraud or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're money. The church has plenty of money. We do not need their money, and the cops aren't like, oh, church's annual income is going to go down. I don't know how I'm going to survive that.
Yeah.
We have way more money than we know what to do with. We do not care.
It's a drop in the Lego bucket.
When the American Fork Police goes around pulling people over,
Yeah.
every person they pull over is more likely than not going to be donating to the Mormon church. Like,
Especially in that neighborhood.
it's like American Fork is a majority Mormon.
But
In a
then-
very,
but then they
very
pull
rich
out the temple recommend on top of the driver's license.
I wish.
Oh man, that would have saved me a lot of headache.
So
Yeah, and I'm a super Mormon. I pay my tithing, and I still got honor coded for my long hair. Actually, so don't know what's going on
So they
there.
don't want your tithes.
Somebody missed the memo. Like,
I'm out here publicly defending the church, and the MTC low key pushed me out of the teaching there.
wow.
Never shared that lore on the podcast. But
Yeah, but that was because of your many sins.
but what's a better theory? Let us offer a better theory because there's obviously bad corruption going on.
Mhm.
Anyone who's paid attention to Utah politics knows that we have a lot of problems on the local level.
Yeah.
So, a better theory is that the owners of Bricks and Minifigs know someone in the American Fork Police Department.
That's likely.
This is what I want to hear your thought on this too, because you're involved in local government. But there's a portion of this video, so we kind of just saw it right there when he's on the phone. They're waiting outside of the owner of Bricks and Minifigs' house to serve them court papers.
Across the street.
Across the street, yeah. And they're waiting, so he comes outside and they can serve him the court papers and say, okay, we're going into a lawsuit. Josh calls the police on them, and a police officer shows up. And they say, here's what we're doing, it's totally legal. And the cop says, yeah, you're fine as long as you don't go on their property. He leaves. A second police officer comes. He tells him the same thing. Cop says, okay, you guys are good to go. Leaves. A third. They're all different police officers. All say the same thing. And then police come back and they finally take him into custody and arrest them. I don't know. I'm not like an expert in like how like, these calls to the police department go. But I'm just like thinking from the armchair here, and I'm open to other explanations. It doesn't seem likely to me that this guy calls the police department and says, hey, there's someone outside my house, on my property, whatever he has to say, even though they're not his property. And they send a police officer over, and the police officer says, hey, he's actually fine. He's not doing anything illegal. He's allowed to be on the street. And then he calls back to the police department again and says, hey, I know you just sent a police officer over, but can you send a different police officer over to see if they can? That's not, I don't think that's how that works. To me, this looks like he's calling individuals and asking them to come by.
Or calling one of their directors.
Yes, or something like that. This doesn't seem like he's just calling the number you look up on the
Yeah.
police department, because it
911.
doesn't make sense that the cops would continue to waste resources after officers are going over and deciding there's nothing legal.
We do hear though once later videos that there was a call between what's the guy's name that runs the store that they're parked outside of? Yeah, Josh. Josh is on the phone with them. It's like, I'm gonna like seriously injure somebody.
Yeah, he said he's going to
He
shoot
says
somebody.
he's going to shoot him.
Yeah, he's gonna shoot somebody if nothing happens. And this kind of escalates it, and I think already the thing that I think compounds it, and maybe this is where it is possibly realistic that it's calls to the same police department, is if it's a thing that continues happening that isn't going away, but there's escalatory variable there.
Yeah,
That's
I
Josh.
can see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
So it totally makes sense to go arrest the guys that are getting threatened.
Yes, and what's so frustrating? What's so frustrating about this video is, and honestly, it's like what Ben does, what Reckless Ben does, is he finds very creative ways to like basically cheat the law. Like for instance, with the small claims thing,
Yes.
it's illegal to divide one larger claim into multiple people filing.
Yeah.
But because of the way the contract is set up, they were able to have, Brian, the guy that owns the Legos, sell them it. So all of the individuals who were sold Legos by Brian can make the small claims, even though it's from the same pool. So to a cop, that must be the most annoying thing in the world. Because really, in the majority of these situations, what you want to do is just kind of resolve it. But the unmatched perspicacity, the tenaciousness of Ben to insist and also be legally in the right must be very frustrating.
Yeah.
The cop's like, look, all of this can be resolved. You just leave. Ben legally is in the right. He's been told so. He has these papers. And so I think a lot of the times there's just this uncomfortable moment of like, wait, this isn't supposed to happen. Right? Usually you tell people to go and they leave. And it's that resistance then that provokes, I think, a much larger deal. But I think you're right. I see this video and I see, Josh probably knows somebody. Probably knows somebody else.
And the most Mormon this could possibly be is he knows someone because they go to church together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, do we have any reason to believe that specifically? No.
Okay, and we should actually continue with this clip because he talks about how the police officers are all Mormon as well. And so go back to the other clip. We're going to see that.
The police officers were treating me unfairly. They were all Mormon.
Okay, pause right there. Look at that. So, there are evidence here that Officer Selbach is a Mormon, is that he went to Bingham High School. I think what happened, either Ben or his editor or someone thought that said Brigham.
Yeah.
And he obviously thinks that going to BYU means that you are just a lifelong member of the church and a super Mormon.
Yeah.
So, I don't see any reason. We haven't looked into these officers individually ourselves, but I don't see any reason just taking his information to assume that these police officers are members.
To be honest,
But
odds are pretty good.
Odds are pretty good. Like, even this is a bad reason. Yes, I mean,
Latter-day Saints now are a minority in Utah.
Yeah, but when this guy went to Bingham High School, they weren't a minority of Bingham High School.
Yeah, no, maybe he grew up a member. There's so much we don't know about the membership status.
Restricted costume.
It's 50-50, maybe even a little bit less, that these guys are members of the church in Utah. It's just, if you're going to just pick a random sample, it's probably going to be closer to 50-50.
I think it is 50-50 because he either is or he isn't.
But my mom went to Bingham High School. She was a minor.
Is she LDS?
She's LDS.
He's a what?
She was a minorette.
Oh, okay.
She probably was a minor when she went to
Yeah, that's true.
They're the Bingham minors. The Bingham minors. My mom was a minorette, and yeah. So she's a member of the church. Therefore, everyone who listens to her are members of the church. But I would not die on this hill. Like, if you ask me honestly, what are the 8 police officers? I would imagine at least 6 of them.
Okay, gun to your head.
Gun to your head.
Gun to your head. You have to be right.
I would
Do you say he's a member?
I would dodge the gun and go find out for sure if he's a member before I take.
How many? If there's 8 police officers involved, how many do you think are members of the church? 4. Really? You die on that?
Yeah.
This isn't the Salt Lake City Police Department.
Yeah.
This is the American Fork Police Department.
Yeah, but they don't always live in the area.
Well, he is from Salt Lake.
Well, they also might not be.
Yeah, he's from Salt Lake. Get wrecked, boy.
That's lower than 50. What I'll say though, and this is, nobody who looks outside of the church understands this. It's like I had buddies that I grew up with that I went to church with. But my idea of how we know each other has never been because we went to church together.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy lives in my community.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to my ward. I know him for I don't know, doing this thing in college.
Around together.
Yeah. There's never this guy was in my elder's quorum. I'm gonna die for this guy. I mean, obviously.
That's why I wanted to push back a little bit.
Money.
This is my young man's first counselor.
I need his money to go to the church. I'll defend him at any cost.
When Cade went down in the teacher's quorum scandal, it's like that was my first counselor. He was right by my side.
Okay. Also, we should say we are pushing back at this area because we think it's a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
But if they are members of the church, and it looks, by all means, we've received some DMs from people. It looks like the owners are absolutely members of the church. I'm sure some of these cops are. We should not stand with people just because they're members of the church. If they do something crummy, they deserve to be punished for it. If they are stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Legos, I'm not going to sit here and defend you. I will absolutely call you out. And I will also say, if you are listening to this, if you are in business, if you're going into business, look at what can happen. Even if this man is innocent, which I personally doubt at this point. Look at what just this kind of interaction with people does for the PR of the church.
Mm.
We have to be better.
Yeah.
There's too much business white collar crime going in Utah. It's way higher than it should be.
Yeah.
And we need like members lock in, be honest, and don't even if you are in the right, be Christ-like in your business dealings. It's so important because look at this. This has 6 million views in the last like couple days on these 2 episodes.
Well, this is something that I interact with a lot in politics, and it's the same in business. It's so tempting to get into this like mode of this is a different world, business or politics. It's different. Yeah, the religious rules don't really apply here because you can't succeed if you're religious. That's a lie. It's so stupid. It's like Thomas. I think it was Thomas S. Monson, right? Who talked about you should never check your faith at the door.
Yeah.
And Holland, real, yeah. If you do, I believe you'll be a lot less successful because the markers that you actually do want, honesty, integrity, and whatnot, they tend to come through if you're abiding by the actual standards of the church. 100%. There's a reason that Provo is like the entrepreneurship capital of the entire country. And that's also, by the way, why it's a very good shot that Bricks and Minifigs, this like startup, smaller business that's succeeded, is LDS.
And Legos.
Yeah, and Legos.
Love Legos.
Absolutely. Like Jello. What do you think of with Mormons? Legos and Jello.
I've heard some reports that Josh and Brandon don't even like
Legos.
That might be worse than anything else.
Yeah, but Ammon, the CEO with the handlebar mustache and no eyebrows,
he loves
likes
Legos, for sure.
That's cool.
Just looking at
Is
it.
that real?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, that's a real thing.
So get the inside scoop here.
Ammon, if you're listening to this, Ammon has done a couple interviews with people, and he's kind of given his side and kind of tried to defend Bricks and Minifigs. But I want to have him on. So if he watches this, or if someone who knows him watches this, like reach out to us. We'll have a chat with you. We want to talk. We get along. Yeah, he's I don't know if he's like the CEO of like regional area or what his thing is, but
Yeah, he's the one with the curly mustache.
Yeah.
You can tell. You look at him, it's like this guy loves Legos. With Brian too, to be fair.
So this is what I'll say to kind of wrap up the plausibility of this Mormon collusion. If you can make an argument like this, if the American Fort Police Department pulls someone over and they look in the window and it's a member of the Quorum of 12 Apostles, and it's like, Elder Uchtdorf was going 120, and they're like, "Hey, man, you're good." There's reason to
that
believe
could very well likely
that would like if you're a member of this church and you see this leader or whoever. But
can I add something to that?
The idea that
when we were at the Messi game in Salt Lake City, we were filming and we were on the sideline and the ref was standing right next to us. And I said, "If you had to give Messi a card, would you be nervous?" And she said, "Not at all. He's just like any other player." And I saw in her eyes that she did not mean it.
She was nervous.
She would have been nervous. She wouldn't have done it.
100%.
She would have been absolutely terrified to do it. And it's the same way with the cop. I'd be afraid the Pope or even L. Ron Hubbard, man. I'd be afraid.
Yeah. So these guys could care less about the church affiliation. This guy being in the same church that everyone else is in around here.
Can I add to that? I mean, they had a guy go up the door acting like a member of the church.
Yeah.
He still got questioned by the police.
We also got a tip because we put this on our story asking for information. Yeah. These are just tips. We don't know. We haven't.
Candace Owens level.
Yeah, Candace Owens level. Maybe, hopefully, a little better. But they said that kid is a real youth in that stake. We're getting some conflicting information on whether he was a member of Josh's ward or not.
My theory on this, so we know that the reason they got their address and everything is because someone who lives in Josh's neighborhood, who's members of the church, were helping them.
Okay, yes, we have to talk about this.
And they've got tools.
And they got tools. I think that's how they got his address, or they just knew where it was. But that would put them in the same ward, if not same stake. And I think it's more likely that they called one of their buddies and said, "Hey, man, want to throw on a white shirt and tie and go and walk over to this guy's house for the bit?" Because I can't really imagine the scenario unless it was Sunday. They're like waiting out. Like, it just doesn't make sense to find one. He's got to dress like an elder.
What do you guys dress like?
What do you mean? What is that?
I've never heard of that.
I'm just kidding. No, I don't wear a shirt tie. I'm not a good minister.
Minister. I hardly know her.
I put on my shirt and tie and my nice dress socks, dark colored dress socks, my dress shoes, and then Send a text and say, "Hey, you doing okay?"
Yeah, so I think that was probably. I think there was a little bit of theatrics involved, but I think that guy probably isn't member of the church. But I think that was probably a little bit less spontaneous.
But I don't think you hit home with how serious that is. So we talked to some folks on the phone last night that were able to get Ben some hookups in the state. They knew where Josh lived, and they were able to connect him so we could do this second part of the video. That's because of two members of the church that
Their house was a couple streets over. That was their home base for the stakeout.
and they and these guys. So the Mormon collusion thing just doesn't really work. Also, we can talk about this a little bit later, but that original franchise owner that was booted out, um, I think it was someone else. I can't remember if it's like a joint lawsuit with her and someone else, or if it was just her and her husband or something. But there's a lawsuit pending against Bricks and Minifigs for some improper business things related to this issue, and they're being represented by legal power that are Latter-day Saints. So there are Latter-day Saints on all ends of this issue, and we're going to see it later. Ben, he was on a podcast and he was like, why don't we just get some like high up like Mormon lawyers to like go after him? And I'm like, you already have that. It's not you, but like there are people that are stepping up and doing this. And I like to think that as a community, we're going to step up and do the right thing when it's requisite. And that's what we're trying to do. We're going to call out our own here. If these guys, if these cops, if anyone involved is actually doing shady stuff, then like they should absolutely not be able to say yes to their temple recommend interview questions when they have to say, I'm honest in my dealings with my fellow man. You should not be answering those questions if you're doing this kind of stuff.
That's a super good point. Like this is like that's the question on the temple recommend interview where it's like it gives me the most reason for pause, where I really have to think through like, do I support or endorse any kind of teaching that is like a conflict with the church or any organization or cause? It's like that's a super broad question.
Yeah.
And so like being honest in your dealings with your fellow men, same deal. It's in your job and everything.
Absolutely. And
So
also, if you, it's not, I don't think it's part of it anymore. They used to ask if you have any unpaid debts. I don't know if I'd be able to answer that one right now because I owe Baylor a lot. He bought me some stuff that I.
You need to have. He's going to be sitting in the next interview.
yeah, they ask you if you have any unpaid
Really?
unpaid child support.
Yeah, ask that question again.
Can you repeat the question?
So here's another Mormon connection. So this is, I believe his name's Tyler. So going back to the corruption, if you haven't seen the video, bad look. Police show up to their house at night, say, hey, you guys have heroin. We need to search your car and you guys need to take drug tests. They have them out there for 2 to 3 hours trying to get them to slip up and give them a reason to
Is this hair loss?
It's really bad. And I think they showed a clip of them making a similar what?
Hair loss.
It's not a hair loss.
Hair loss.
I'm kicking you guys out. So this is, I believe his name's Tyler. This is his buddy who gets drug tested. And let's just watch this drug test, see what we know.
Well, can I know we were?
Oh yeah.
Let's be honest, guys. We're from Oregon. You got to take some precautions. Somebody new comes into Utah.
The Oregonians.
You drive across the Utah state line, and it's like drug check. Come on.
Passing every single drug test they gave us, they were still not going to let us go until we told them where the drugs were.
Your eyes right there, all right? There's a constriction. It's just dilated. And then
You know, sit.
so I need this. Also, look at it.
Oh, look here.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
So
It's crazy.
No idea, because I've never done any drugs in my life. I don't do drugs. I don't do alcohol. I've never done any of that. I'm
Based. Maybe he's one.
He is. I'm confident he is.
Because this is the guy we spoke on the phone with last night, who was responsible for kind of helping Ben get situated and be able to film this video. He told us about his friend, that is named Tyler, and he told us that this was the guy he was talking about. It's like, we know this was the guy's friend. The guy we were talking to last night, he's a member of the church, and we're kind of assuming Tyler's a member of the church, unless he's just.
Oh, so now we can assume.
Yeah, we're gonna assume.
Yeah, we have reason to believe he's a member of the church. Not only from this video, but from our tips. And
We're trying to get a hold. Just so you know, everyone we're reaching out to. This has only been going on for like a day. This video got posted like 2 days ago now. We're trying to reach out to all these people so we can really like get some good on the ground info of what's going on.
Like right back there, just like
assuming
lines of red storming.
assuming he is Mormon, and that Mormonism is just the key to doing whatever you want. You know, Mormons protect their own. He could have just said, guys, I'm Mormon.
Yes,
It's not the way, right? It's like that's not how it works. They don't care. They, to try to steel man the police department position a little bit. I think that they handled this extremely poorly. I think that it's wrong and it's an embarrassment to our faith that they may be a part of and to our community here in Utah. I think that they just didn't take these guys seriously.
Yeah.
I think that they just thought they were doing pranks. I think they walk up to the car, they see these guys, the way they're dressed, kind of their demeanor, the jokes they're telling. I think they just underestimated them and they doubled down and they doubled down and they doubled down. And, a lot of mistakes were made. And even in the body cam footage of this one, we're trying to scare them and get them to stop doing pranks.
Yeah.
So, I think that there's people that are extremely culpable, like, the people at Bricks and Minifigs who know what's going on and are telling the police X, Y, or Z. And as a police department, you get an adult calling in, maybe it's your boss, the chief, whoever has some personal relationship with. And then you have these like YouTubers that are like 20 something years old. It's hard to, there's going to be maybe a bias there.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't be, right? And I think they're trained not to do that. But I don't think that like every cop here is like evil.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to do what they thought was best and they just kept getting confused.
Yeah, if people like the Nelk Boys didn't exist, I feel like this would be pretty cut and dry. But like, since there's just constantly like scheming YouTubers just trying to like
cause mayhem.
Yeah, just getting everyone's business and cause all these issues. Like, there's probably a distrust for YouTubers like us.
Yeah.
Like, we're very persecuted in the world.
Well, that's like, do you guys remember when you were younger? Like, I would mess around, like, I'd fool around, but I was always, like, very respectful to, like, adults or authorities.
Absolutely, yeah.
But whenever you were doing anything that was kind of goofy, people would look at you like you're about to throw a rock through, like, a car windshield. Yeah. Because there are people that do that. And so it's difficult in the case of, like, police, because a lot of these situations usually are resolved by just telling people to knock it off. Mm-hmm. But then you're right. It's like underestimating it, not understanding as well the legal like protection that is there.
Yes.
It's like the worst thing ever is when somebody's like being snarky or messing with you, but they're also legally in the right. But I think we kind of also maybe live in a time where police officers probably assume they can do more than actually they are secured to do legally.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem, and that's what you see here. Like the conversation between the police officers that is redacted in one video, but the audio of a different officer isn't redacted, so Ben gets to get it. Out. Yeah. They basically are talking about, well, what can we get these guys on? And by the way, to the credit of some of these police officers, I mean, especially the first ones that pull up, they're like, you're not doing anything illegal. You're totally fine to park here. My apologies. Like, you're good. And so there are those cops, but then there's others who are like, what can we do to just get these guys? Like, what can we hit them with? And I think that's the wrong way of looking at it.
No matter what's terrible. It's illegal. And all I'm trying to say is some are more culpable than others. Like when I just see people just spamming out the list of the officers' names, I'm like, listen, guys, like some of these guys are in the wrong and did things they should be ashamed of. Like, whoever authorized going to these guys' house to try to find heroin on them, insane. Whoever authorized the swatting, whoever arrested them, like embarrassing, corrupt, terrible.
Yep.
Again, we're working with one side of the story, but I can't really see a situation where there's that many extra details that would make it redeemable.
Yeah.
But then there's other cops, like you mentioned, that are just thrown into this and that are trying to do their best and went home that night and were like, did I mess that up?
Yeah. So. And then there's, like we just mentioned, there's Latter-day Saints trying to fight for to do the right thing in this situation.
Well, all the Latter-day Saints are DMs telling us to
cover it. Yeah.
Cover it.
I've talked to so many people. Yeah. Same here.
Okay, so this is a video. Ben has gone on a couple podcasts since talking about his experience. This is H3 or something. I can't remember. I've seen this guy all the time, but he has 3 million subscribers. This video has 330,000 views. And I want to say no one should come for Ben. I think Ben represented us so fairly in this video. He had a Latter-day Saint go to his house and he was like, yeah, I don't want these two Mormons to ruin the name of the church for all of them.
Yeah.
And he even said, I really appreciate this, and this might go under the radar for a lot of people, but he said, this is not according to the teachings of the church.
Yeah.
They are not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
If this was like an Alyssa Grenfell video, she'd be like, well, they were actually taught from when they were young to steal Legos from old people. But that's obviously not what we do. He was fair. He's like, that's not what they're teaching. they are going against what their religion teaches. That's an important distinction to make, and I really appreciate it. But we're gonna see what he kind of goes with here. But
I think also him calling out the fact that Josh like literally like swears in the name of God that he's like going to return the Legos. Like that is crazy.
when I heard that, I thought that he was probably not a member.
Yeah.
I've seen some good evidence now that that's not the case, but like it's obviously not like a sin. You're not going to hell if you say like I swear to God. But that's just not in our. It's just not in our
What
vocabulary.
is this?
Well, it is.
It
It
is
is.
swear to God and lie.
And to take his name.
Oh yeah,
in
he was
vain,
lying to me.
because
He's
he was
lying.
he was
That's
lying.
very big sin. Yeah,
And
sure.
he was.
I was just saying the words themselves are
Yeah.
not sinful, but that's also just not something we say. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, that's just like very, very out of the ordinary for
Yeah, we're pretty averse to the G word.
like that's it. That's like what I hear when I hear Moroni. I'm like, okay, so you don't know if you call the angel Moroni, you don't know what you're talking
Dude, I
about.
remember back in like third grade, like I was kind of in the rebellious phase, and I was like swearing like a sailor, but I was like, but I'm never going to take the Lord's name. That's the clear one.
Yeah.
I agree. We
No.
just don't say it.
It's true. I learned most of my swear words from Tony Hawk Underground on the PS2. I never said it.
Not one
Never.
original experience here. Yeah.
Okay, let's watch this interview.
They're a bunch of Mormons, and they're all the way that they all are working together and covering for each other. It's like, dude, oh my God, there's the Mormons. They're very nice. Every Mormon I've met is very nice, but I'll tell you, they are not being very nice in this video.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. I don't know. I would have thought, like, you're right, because Mormons, if they do bad things, they think they're going to hell, or like they call it the outer darkness.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was so surprised that a Mormon would.
I don't know where he learned the outer darkness lore, but he's like all about it. It's really funny.
Yeah, well, he has Mormon friends. I think we've confirmed that at this point.
Yes.
Mormon. He was with Mormons while he's here.
Do we know if he made any videos about the church? Because
I
he's
haven't
covered
seen-
like cults and
He's
stuff.
covered
Yeah.
hands of cults, and I've never really seen
And he's
him.
being really kind to us.
Yeah.
Whereas like Scientology and these other groups, like he's really not about.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's like actually level headed about us. I sent him a DM. I really want to chat with him. He said in this video that like he wants to work with the Mormon community to kind of call out these guys.
Yeah.
And we're all for that. Like
We're kind of the puppet masters that run the Mormon church.
yeah, we kind of just are controlling everything around
I've
here.
let my elected officials know. A couple of them I make statements.
Yeah.
See.
So the American Fort Police Department pretty much just does whatever we
Yeah.
because we donate money to the same church they do. That's what it's all about.
We actually ordered the SWAT order on the wrong
Yeah,
house.
that was-
we meant to SWAT Josh.
Yeah, that was a big mistake, big oversight.
That
on
was
our
you
part.
guys, and then I called in the officials and I said, guys, it's bad. Just take it away.
But keep going for a second.
be acting this way. Yeah, because they probably think that they're going to hell. Like, I think I would have expected an atheist to act this way because it's like, oh, who cares if I murder a bunch of people? I just die. No, I don't get tortured at the end of this. You know, like that's like makes
All good.
sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if a Mormon like does something that's evil, then it's like
And they know,
be tortured for eternity. You know,
like the cops are Mormon,
Okay, look,
and you have
I agree with what he's saying. I'm not a big like eternal conscious torment of hell guy,
Enjoyer.
but they are not becoming what they. If this is all true, and these guys are doing horrible business deals, pulling the wool over people's eyes, and stealing money from them, they are not becoming what they need to become. They are not acting Christ-like, and they're going to have to suffer for that, just as all of us are going to have to suffer for our
Not putting off the natural man. No.
Yes, not at all. And yeah, we can keep going to the next clip because this is over. But they keep going on a lot of this stuff.
I don't want this to be like a hit piece against Mormonism because I think the way he's actually going to get the Legos back is if like the Mormon community, like obviously I'm not going to have any influence on him, but the Mormon community will. So if we can get the Mormon,
On behalf of the Mormon community, give the Legos back.
Give them back, bro. Give
right
them back.
now.
Unhand the Legos.
Or I'm gonna tell the police department to come get you.
I'll pry them from your C-shaped hands.
You see this?
Uh-huh.
I'll trade you.
Mormon battalion
This-
coming.
On
This
behalf,
is the whole collection, straight up.
on behalf of Mormon himself, I have come. Give them back.
Give them back.
Amen.
Let my Legos go.
community on our side and be like, hey, someone in your group is doing
they're
something
lying.
like completely. He's breaking all of your Mormon rules, stealing. That breaks the Mormon. One of the main things you can't do in Mormonism is stealing. Josh is doing
True.
that.
Lying.
Lots.
True.
See, he's got ball knowledge.
It's one of the main things.
This is one of the main things.
We don't have to talk about it very much because normally we don't do it that much.
It's also, I didn't know that was an exclusive thing. I thought
Yeah.
stealing was one of those
It
things.
was-
Most
Like
people.
all
They talk about
religions.
this later. It's so funny because he was like, "Well, even Jesus says, like, turn the other cheek," and he was like, "They're part of Christianity, right?" So like they go with that, and he was like, "Yeah, I think they're like they're part of it."
Mormons are Christian, confirmed.
Look, all we know is that one of the main things in Mormonism is that you should not steal.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
one
you're
of the Ten
stealing,
Commandments, that's like the ground rules, like the first rules ever.
we do talk about the Ten Commandments more than other Christian faiths.
True.
Hey, he's doing that. Stealing from old people, even worse in Mormonism, I think.
I can confirm.
Yeah, that's facts.
That is confirmed.
Stealing bad, but in Mormonism, if you steal from the elderly,
Yeah,
that is like
that's true.
It's
Stealing from
absolutely true.
Stealing from the
Our
say
elders.
the weak, the disenfranchised,
Yeah.
the vulnerable. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I need to see a picture of the CEO. You guys need to see what an evil looking
Coffin to
freak
forget.
this guy is. This guy does not have the glaze. I've talked about Mormons a lot on the show. And Mormons have this glaze. Like they look like they're just everything's put together. They look beautiful or shiny, right?
mustache curl.
But this guy, he's lost his glaze long ago.
Okay, I know I just invited Ammon on our show, so I know I'm sorry we laughed at that. If he said the same thing about me, I would laugh. But
That's a
that's
funny concept.
he does not look like a Latter Day Saint. Like he doesn't have that. He
I
looks out.
I think he
I think
does.
he totally looks like a Latter-day Saint.
At least a
the
Utah
goatee
Latter Day.
mustache.
Yeah.
I have to specify that. For those unfamiliar with the church, the reason why we have to come to bat is because most members of the church live outside of the United States. There's more Mormons that speak Spanish than English. So, in a general sense, the majority of Mormons don't look like, what's his name? Ammon?
Yeah,
He's literally named after a guy from the Mormons.
Yeah, he may not look Mormon, but you ask his
But-
name. And
Utah Mormon is now, we have to have that qualifier now because we're global.
now the reason some people might not believe that he's Mormon is because he has facial hair below the bottom lip,
Yeah.
which at BYU,
As you can see,
mustache fine.
I am within the honor code, I
Yep.
think. I think of my hair.
I'm getting
Yeah, we're
I'm
both getting close.
or tiptoeing, which is also especially bad.
Tiptoeing.
if you're stealing, then yes. You have to tiptoe to break into somewhere.
You know, it'd be cool if you got like Mormon, good Mormons. You could do like an inner Mormon. Like you have good Mormons in your law firm who love Lego,
Oh,
and then
yeah, well, yeah, you're right. Like, what if we just got like some super
They're
high
good
Mormons on our side? Yeah, I think
so we could
good
do that.
Mormons.
That's
We're the high
Donkey.
We're the high Kirk McConkie takes his case. Like so,
Can you imagine? That would be
They
sick.
wouldn't lose. I'll tell you that much. They're not losing
Yeah, because the judge is in their pocket. He's a bar.
no, because they're cracked.
because they're dogs, bro. Absolute legends. Anyway, yeah.
Mormon lawyers out
We
there.
are the good Mormons you're talking about. We're with you. We stand with you, and we want to work with you.
What if Outdoor Boys? Outdoor Boys. Luke Nichols is a Mormon lawyer.
Yep.
What if he represented him?
There's no way this guy doesn't like Legos. There's no way
Nichols. Oh,
he loves Legos.
Absolutely.
He was. I was born with the Legos.
See, regular action figures. That's why I'm throwing your bag.
It's not true.
Is that pretty good enough?
That was fine.
Okay.
It's a lot of pressure, man. You're so good at all this professions. All right. Are we done with this one?
Yeah, we can be done with that. And yeah, that's the last one, I think. Oh, sorry, no, we have.
I
two.
love how it's like a motif. How an hour, like each hour of the podcast, it's
Yeah.
brought up in a different
I
way.
hear that with a lot of clips, dude. They talk about us a lot. He thinks that he read originally. I think he misread it, and he thought it said Brigham Young University. He like read it wrong, and then he realized it could
Wait,
be a
that's
joke,
crazy.
and he doubled
Brigham
down,
Young.
and he was like, "I just can't believe that you would call it Brigham Young." And then he also was like, "He's like, what's the founder's name? John Smith?" And he was like, "Joseph Smith." And he's like, "They should have come up with a better name." And the guy on the show was like, "What do you mean? He's a real. They didn't make him up."
Cool.
Well, I met a lot of them that were like, I was raised Mormon, I'm out of it. Like, no one that was like, I was raised out of it, now I'm in it. So I think people are born into it and leave, but no one's
Oh.
born out of it and joins.
Honestly, I think
That's not true. You're wrong, man. We're diverging here. last year, 400,000, almost 400,000 convert baptisms, as opposed to 90,000 children born into the
Yeah,
church.
we do way better numbers.
So for every one child born into a Mormon household, there's 4 people
Joining it.
that are joining that weren't born into it. So you got to fact check you there.
Anyway, so as I've said, so I don't think Ben was super fair to us. I think he was. I think he's able to think clearly about the church because it would have been way juicier. It would have been way easy to spin this the wrong angle super hard, but he didn't. But other people are.
Yeah.
There's a big. I don't know if you watched any like secondary stuff, but other people are doing that a lot.
Yeah, and that's what you see in his original video too. It's like everything he's saying doesn't come from him; it comes from Brian in Oregon,
Yes.
who has this perception of Utah as like this old school, removed from the rest of society,
Theocracy.
cult theocracy. Yeah, and whereas we're really struggling to maintain a foothold here. Like we just dropped below 50%. What's going on?
That's a good point.
I kind of wish
We're struggling to. We definitely have a foothold. We're struggling to like monopolize it.
Yeah, let's raise those numbers.
But
Those are rookie numbers.
I'm of the opinion that I'm excited to get some new faces in the Utah government. I think you follow any land deal in the state of Utah, you look at the prison, you look at the South Jordan racetrack, you look at any of these land deals, you follow the money. Our politicians are making bank.
Dude.
They're so corrupt. You just follow the money, follow the land. And so I would love to bring in some. It's not because they're Mormon. In fact, it's in spite of many of them being Mormon.
Mm.
And I'm happy to have some new faces around to kind of just shake things up and just keep an eye on things.
Yeah.
Most of us just don't care about our local officials. We don't care that they're screwing us.
Yeah.
So
there's I think the Senate Chief of Staff raised her wage $100,000 this last year.
In the Utah Senate,
it's like I think she made 3.
Yeah. Then don't like the House of Representatives. You only make what, 175 U.S. House.
Only?
Well, I'm just saying,
part-time job
compared to 300,000.
No, you're right. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, the practice squad NFL players make like $185,000 a year.
If
They're providing value. We're not just wasting our tax dollars.
I had zero reason to share that. I just learned it recently, so I wanted to talk
That's
about
what's
it.
up.
They're entertaining.
That way you commit it to member.
Yeah.
You share it.
Zero connection.
Oh.
So, okay, hold on. Go over. This is Penguins Zero. He's one of the biggest YouTubers on planet Earth. 18 million
views on this.
18 million subscribers.
Yes,
This guy's huge. He covers it. He talks about the church a couple times.
That is his real voice.
This is his
real voice. This is actually how I talk. We're actually going to see how good that was. 1 second.
Things is accurate that the evidence is on Brian's side, not Bricks and Minifig's side. No matter what, though, it doesn't matter to the police department here, it seems, because they'd rather just protect Josh because they're Mormons. That appears to be what's going on. That's the only possible explanation for why they're so
crazy. It's crazy.
the only possible.
I love this guy. He's great. He makes great YouTube content. Like, he's one of the YouTube goats. But, like, what are we talking about? That's the only explanation. That's bonkers.
I don't blame Brian for getting. I don't blame Brian getting conspiratorial against the Mormons.
Absolutely.
Because, dude, if I have $200,000 of, it's not just $200,000. It's your collection.
Yeah.
It's like a sentimental thing. It's just cash.
Yeah.
Which maybe you can argue which one's worse. But if I'd been dealing with these Mormon guys that screwed me over, like if there was some super niche religion, like I went to a Muslim church once. So a couple of Muslim guys. I only know one Muslim guy. If the only Muslim guys I knew stole money from me, I'd be like, I might be a little buttered.
Well,
but everyone else should be able to come in with like, an objective point of view and be like, hey, I don't know if it's because they're Mormon.
Yeah. I think what it is it's this tendency, especially when things are being resisted so strongly, when there's not any movement. Because Brian had tried so many times himself, and now that Ben's gone in and he's also met this resistance, you get to the point where it's like there has to be like some larger conspiracy at play. Like there must be some power that can stop this from happening. And the most immediate thing you go to is the thing you know the least about that has appeared consistent. And this is why I think for Latter-day Saints, especially in politics, there's this tendency that I see all the time dealing with politics of Latter-day Saints to not mention that they're members of the church so that they can blend in and show people that we're normal just like that. I think that is exactly the opposite of what we need to be doing because it creates, or rather, it minimizes the exposure. When you tell people it's like, I am a Latter-day Saint, absolutely, and they realize, oh, maybe there are these differences, but I know what they are. You're familiar with the differences. It's like you'd rather have an enemy that you know versus an enemy that you don't.
Yeah.
And I think that when people find out who we are, when they're familiar with us, we're not even enemies. We're actually just like, we have some disagreements theologically, but align on a lot. But yeah, it's because we've made an effort to not mention that we're members of the church to try and blend in that I think we actually do ourselves a disservice.
Yeah.
Well, there's that big rebrand that we just did where we're like actually trying to like just basically be Protestants.
Yeah.
Because we love Protestants.
We love
Protestants love us.
Yeah.
Like we're just like super like we align with them on everything.
So the Book of Mormon actually, back when it came out in 1830, every time it's like now it mentions Jesus like almost, I think it's every 1.5.
But it used to be all about Joseph Smith.
Yeah, every time it says Jesus now, it used to say Joseph Smith.
The great
We did the
rebrand
great
that happened,
rebrand.
Yeah.
5 years ago is like really, really shake things up.
Changed all of our scriptures.
And it's really difficult to mention that to people because they'll all say, well, what about all the times that the Book of Mormon was changed? It's like, no, but those were just the times that changed Joseph to Jesus.
Yeah, no, they were just minor grammatical and / or changing Joseph to Jesus.
Yeah. Well, the Book of Mormon has actually been changed so much that every original change has been changed. There's not only is there not only is there not an original word from the first version, there's not even an original word from the second version.
It's the first vision, not the first version.
There was like 200 pages shorter when it first came out.
Do I have more to go on this?
Yep. So this is him. Sorry, just probably give a little bit of background for this next clip.
He's shooting from the back rows.
Penguins.
The American Ford Police Department released a video at like 30% volume.
How is this possibly the?
That was it. That was all they could come up with.
I don't know, but it seems harder to have this glowing white background.
Well, so all the police department are Mormons, so he's actually shooting this from heaven.
The opposite of outer darkness.
Portray it's like a hint for the elites
He's shooting this from
that they're not actually going to have it.
Well, if you take a screenshot at any point in the video and you put the exposure at 100%, you actually see writing behind him in the Deseret alphabet.
Wow.
That would be
so
so sick.
That would make us switch sides.
Yeah, I would switch sides.
I didn't know that was East Portals.
I should start pushing the different alphabet to like talk code. To like, because you know how we're like rebranding.
How does it sound?
So we're not actually. It just
I think
sounds
it
like it's
sounds
just
like
English. It just sounds like English. But if we want to like send messages to each other, because the rebrand, we're talking like we're Christians now, but we're actually secretly not, and we all know it. We're just trying to convert people to Christianity, even though that's not actually what we believe.
Yeah. So once someone finds faith in this,
Yeah, we just talk to them as red alphabet.
once someone's baptized, and he's like, "Oh, it's weird things and answers." Like this testimony of Christ.
They tricked you.
It's all sure.
Gotcha.
Are you happy? You want to stay? They're like, yes.
And they go, oh, you got me so good, I'm sticking around.
Wait,
It's a different
no,
Jesus?
We send the police force.
So it's actually a different Jesus. He was also born in Nazareth, same day, same time, but he's a different guy. They were like rivals.
Yeah.
That's the guy you have faith in.
Anyway, sorry. Yes, filming from heaven. American Police Department released a video, kind of explaining their side of the story. I thought it was really weird. I don't think it like
It was poorly done.
yeah.
It was bad.
Some PR guy needs to get involved down there and kind of right the ship.
Yeah.
But this is Penguin Zero's reaction to that video.
We tried to, throw a bone to some of these officers that might have got wrapped up in it, didn't know what's going on. But at this point, the number of things are just wrong in this press conference. It's embarrassing. It's really bad.
Yeah.
For an additional count of stalking.
So it really seems like the entire community over here, like the Mormon community here, is all over Josh's meat to like really ride or die for him. So now they're just snitching on them, just having an Airbnb. That seems
No.
Because he's saying, I don't think that made it in the clip, but what the guy said is that supposedly
Yeah.
the reason they swatted him is because the Airbnb owner heard them talking about stolen Legos.
Yes.
Which there's no way you can get a SWAT warrant, whatever you need for that, a search warrant, off of someone overhearing a conversation about stolen Legos, especially when there's no, who is the victim?
Yeah. Well,
Whose Legos are they trying to find?
exactly. I have experience with this too. I got swatted like when I was streaming like 3 years ago. Yeah, I got swatted, and it was basically the same team. Not the same people, but it was like the same setup that was here to get Legos. The call they had made for me though was that I had killed my girlfriend, had a lot of guns, and wasn't going down without a fight.
Did you?
No,
Okay.
we broke up much earlier.
I just
No, I'm not a fighter.
That's crazy.
that is bonkers.
It was
But it
nuts,
would
though.
make sense if someone called that in.
Yeah, well,
That you would get swatted.
and even still, you know what happened? They called my parents. They looked at the neighborhood. This is what the cops said. They looked at the neighborhood and said, it doesn't look like something like that would happen here. They call my parents. They're like, hey, we just got a call for this address. Because I was like, hey, we have a shed in the back where I would do the stream. They're like, we got a call for this address. Are you guys okay? They let my parents know. They're like, okay, come outside. My parents are like, you sure? I don't see anybody out there. Oh, we're here. You made it like totally incognito. So my parents go outside. They put my parents in cuffs and my sister in cuffs. And then my parents were calling me, but my phone was face down, which was the worst. So I'm on this live stream debating Destiny. Like,
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had a conversation with Destiny.
Yeah, and then he clickbaited my arrest, for the entire YouTube page.
That's
This is like the
insane.
beginning. So that was fun. But yeah, I hear like a yell from inside the shed. They're like, "Salt Lake City Police Department, come out with your hands up."
Do you think it was like a joke at first?
I didn't hear it at first. I kept going. I'm like in
Yeah,
this
but
heated
it's on.
debate. And then I did hear it. I took my headset off, ended my stream. Of course, everybody else is streaming, so they see me anyway. And I'm like, okay, coming out. I put my hands up on camera. It's not taking any chance. I'm not going to get shot.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you had a
like,
camera
hey.
on, yeah.
Exactly. So I walk out. I announce all my movements. Like I'm putting my hands outside the door. They put me in cuffs. There's a guy with a riot shield. There's a guy with a flashlight on me. And then there's one more. There's three of them stacked up. And then in the front, they had a sniper and they had two other guys. But if you look at the video of the swatting, they had like 6 police officers over Legos as well. It's like they're treating the Legos with the same degree of severity as called that I had killed my girlfriend was gonna like die in a
Yeah,
shootout
you
with
were
police.
armed.
Yeah,
That's insane.
totally ridiculous. And on top of that, I mean, this call is coming in from the Airbnb owner. The Airbnb owner thinks that it's like they have stolen Legos and they're gonna kill me if I tell anyone. It's like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Wow. Well, it's crazy to think about. Like Josh has called the police department. He told them that he was considering shooting someone.
Yeah. That was insane. The fact that he said that is crazy.
And has no repercussions at all.
No repercussions. That is an insane comment.
And the other clip, I don't think we.
And that, okay, also, that information comes from the police department.
Yeah,
In their
it's
video,
from the-
they're like, yeah, he said he was going to shoot someone. That's not like someone else saying that. It's the police like,
Like it would make.
yeah,
sense.
they said he was going to shoot someone. So the logical thing to do is like, just
Arrest the guy who was going to shoot.
Yeah.
Like the only way this would make sense is if, hey, we have someone who claims they've had $200,000 of property stolen by this guy.
Yep.
The guy who supposedly stole it has told us he has a gun and he's willing to shoot someone. So this is the approach we need to go here. But that's not what happens at all. They don't swat Josh. They swat Ben.
Yeah.
This YouTuber kid that they've ran into multiple times. He's responded every time they've knocked on the door.
Yeah.
And there is no, they're not in touch with the man's house. There is no one missing $200,000 Legos because they're ignoring the people telling them this.
Mm.
And there is no one armed.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's sad. And it's not good.
But again, just the Mormon angle makes no sense at all.
Oh yeah.
What he says here makes no sense. He's like, yeah, they're just like a ride or die for their community. And he says the Mormon community.
Yeah.
We are the Mormon community, bro. We're not about this.
Or
This
we
is
go on, we go
this
on.
is so stupid.
If you're gonna believe, I thought it was very charitable that Ben believed that the Airbnb guy said that. I'm like, I would not believe that.
Yeah.
Like, let's just think about this for a second. You hear someone talking about stolen jewelry. You hear someone talking about stolen whatever. Before this whole thing happened, I didn't even know Legos. I knew like some of the Star Wars Legos, like the Death Star and stuff. Like, I knew they were worth money. But like, if someone told me, oh yeah, 200, like someone just said I stole Legos, I would imagine that person was a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And they were talking about what happened on the playground that day at elementary school.
Or you say, okay, if this is very serious, we should probably send an officer
Yeah.
over to
An
ask them
officer.
what's going on. Not an entire SWAT team.
And you get a search. And it's not like a swatting. It's not you go there and you arrest everybody. You say, hey, we have a warrant. We're going to check the house. You guys stay there.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Okay, so that's a different thing. They didn't need a warrant you don't need a warrant
Well,
to go
you
swap
do
space.
need-
Well, it's a totally different operation.
Yeah, you do.
Really?
Like to
Some
swat
sort of-
somebody versus just to have a search warrant.
Oh my
Totally
gosh.
different.
Yeah, true. Why didn't they go for the search warrant?
They didn't have a warrant when they swatted me. It's like,
Yeah.
in this case, and they said they had one. They said they had a warrant to search the house. What was interesting to me, though, is they put everybody in cuffs.
Yeah.
Like, that's what doesn't compute. You want to search the house For Legos, sure, you don't need to make arrests for that, but they put everybody in cuffs. I think that's what doesn't compute here. There's like some element of it where there's a huge overreaction.
Oh, it's the best way to describe it. Overreaction.
Yeah.
On every step
Yeah.
of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Everything's an overreaction.
And then a total underreaction when the guy's like, I'm going to kill somebody.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest underreaction of the century.
Yeah.
But I just can't emphasize enough. Latter-day Saints listening to this. Please be honest. And don't just be honest. Don't just like follow the loopholes or be technically right. Be Christ-like in business, in law enforcement, whatever you do. You have the opportunity to cause loss of faith or the inability to take the restoration seriously for millions of people.
I was going to say this earlier. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen many cases of this, but this is something I heard about in Argentina, where like people who would get gypped out in these like really bad business dealings, they leave the church over it.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a really bad like financial interaction with a member of the church, I know a lot of people who have left the church over that.
Butch Cassidy's parents.
Yeah.
No. Not his parents. They did have
I
a
just said, yeah, I
a bad
have no
business deal.
clue. Like, I have absolutely no idea what you just said.
I think-
said, absolutely.
Okay, but this goes into it. Butch Cassidy, for those of you who don't know Butch Cassidy, famous Utah outlaw. The Wikipedia page that says the source also says that he had the longest the longest unbroken chain of train heists and bank robberies in American history.
Yeah.
Citation needed though, so don't take my word on that. It's just Wikipedia yapping. But he grew up a member of the church. His parents and his grandparents, pioneers. They come over. They settle in Beaver. And Butch, I don't know like if what his belief status was for the rest of his life. He grew up an active member. And then he goes and he is robbing trains, he's robbing banks, he has a group of outlaws. But he had a strict moral code. He would not steal he wouldn't steal from poor people and he wouldn't kill.
Or from the elderly. Because that's
From the elderly.
special statute.
Even that
He was a Mormon.
even that is better than stealing from the like that is like
Oh, 100%.
Butch Cassidy, perhaps the most famous Mormon crime committer of all time,
Dude.
has a moral code. He's able to say, here's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
This is crazy that we're doing white collar crimes in 2026
Mhm.
as members of the church. It's like unbelievable that it ever happens.
Yeah. And let's see here.
We're doing hand collar crimes.
And color crimes.
Stop calling me, please.
Police.
1 second.
You need to take it.
Oh, I just need to make Eliza take it.
All right, so I think that was the last clip. So while he's doing that, do you have any parting words?
I don't think so. Yeah. Echoing your sentiments. It should be easily observable that you're a member of the church before you even have to say it. I think that's a big thing I learned. I had a conversation one time at the end of high school, and I like mentioned to somebody that I was a member of the church. They were like, "Oh, really?" And in Utah, it should be taken for granted. So I kind of realized, man, I'm doing something wrong. I need to be better, even before I say anything, to be clear, have people very easily assume I'm a member of the church.
Yeah, because the amount of people who are going to go out and read the entire Book of Mormon, very few. If you consider everyone in the whole world. The amount of people who are going to have an interaction in the real world with a member of the church, very high.
Yeah.
You are the only
Point of reference.
Yep, you're going to be the only testimony of the restoration that many people will ever hear. And it's like absolutely unacceptable to be anything other than honest and virtuous and kind and selfless. So the best thing we can do as members is to look at this behavior, if true, and say this is never to happen again. We have to hold each other accountable, and we have to do our best individually to say this is not going to be me.
Yeah. Like you said about Butch Cassidy, like, in our climate nowadays, Gen Z, they like to rally around people who stand up to the big guy, rob the bank, rob the train, rob the corporation.
Mhm.
And if Bricks and Minifigs was stealing Legos from Lego and selling them to families at a cheaper rate than Lego was, would that be in line with what we believe as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Probably not.
But would it be dope?
But we could be like, okay, I can at least see that. But stealing from a sick grandpa That's not, like you said, even Butch Cassidy knew not to do that. The Mormon in him knew that that's not cool.
Yeah. And the
So-
Mormon in me respects the Mormon in Deutsch.
So if you are a Mormon listening to this who's wrapped up in this, maybe you're in the AFPD, maybe you're working bricks and minifigs. Something that I've learned from Stephen M.R. Covey, son of Stephen Covey, Super Mormons. He says that integrity is not just following orders. It's not just doing what you're told. It's not following a rule. Integrity is being congruent with who you are, even if that means standing up to someone. And I think that as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as a disciple of Jesus Christ, all of us are called to be congruent with that identity in the way we behave. And Lord knows we fall short. But do not outsource your integrity to your boss, to your manager. You are called to be a disciple of Christ. Strive to be that. And don't just say, oh, you know what? I was asked to do this. It's not my thing. You know it is your thing. So be the testimony of Jesus to those around you. We'll probably have to make another follow-up on this. There's another episode 3 coming out soon. So, but let this be, there hasn't been enough Mormons that have come out in support of Ben and of the Manzels. Let this be.
Let's be the moment.
Let us be the moment.
Yeah, and if you're an LDS lawyer, take it pro bono.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, even like in the comments, there's a lawyer on there that's like, hey, I'm a lawyer in Utah. My dude, this lawyer's probably a member of the church.
Yeah. Or he's like very anti-church, which is he's like from Salt Lake.
But if we're allowed to assume that the police officers are members of the church for the narrative, we should be allowed to assume that the good guys are members too.
100%.
That's our narrative.
100%. I agree.
Anyways, Kai, hey, take us home, brother. What do you got?
Yeah, I think everything you guys have said is absolutely true. In every moment, if you can strive to be a good representative of Christ, you're going to bring people to the church, and that's what we need. I think being that point of reference is so important, and it'll get you so far. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. Don't try to blend in. Be peculiar in a good way. That's what we're called to be. That's what Scripture says we are.
Killer. Where do we find you? Where do people listening find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Kai Schwemmer. You can find me on Twitter under the same name, and then on Instagram, KAIKLIPS, Kai Clips.
Kai Clips. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
All those in favor, thank you for stopping by. If you know anything about this case, if you know any of the people here, please reach out to us. All those in favor 21@gmail.com. We want to hear this. We're going to keep covering this as much as we can. Latter-day Saints, we stand with the Mansels. We hope this gets righted. We hope everything works out for you guys. And we will talk to you later.
I can see the bonus mechanical units on the ground because
Mechanical units on the ground.
No, I did not just get out of the shower, and I didn't just walk in the rain. I am actually just this greasy. This might be the greasiest you've ever seen me. I'm like a cryptid caught on camera right now with all this. And the stench. Let me tell you, it's a Methodist that could make a warthog puke and die. But that's not what we're really here to talk about. I can go take a shower whenever I want. It's just, I've been grinding some Siege on the gaming channel, and I had a long 4-hour session after the gym. Grinding Siege, not a 4-hour session in the gym. But and now I just want to yap about something because I once again dove down a rabbit hole that we discovered last night on stream with my Lost Media Challenge. Some of you who've been around for a while might remember. Quite a handful of years ago, I issued a public Lost Media Challenge with a bounty of 25K to anyone that could somehow recover the hundreds of videos I deleted about a decade ago. When I was a young lad, I had hundreds of Gears of War montages and 1v1s and a bunch of other gaming videos for like Devil May Cry 4, some Rainbow Six Vegas, all kinds of stuff. Some of them camcorder and then some of them with my Dazzle Platinum capture card. And in 2010, I made the decision to vaporize those bitches. I started deleting them, and I kept deleting apparently all the way up until 2012, which I didn't remember. I thought I did them all in one fell swoop. Hundreds of videos for a variety of reasons. One, some of them I was pretty embarrassed of. They were pretty not good videos. And then others I deleted because at the time, YouTube didn't have the same system it does now when it comes to copyrighted music. So people would lose their YouTube channels if you played like popular songs in them. And some of those videos had very popular music in them. So I just played it safe and just started deleting anything that had music in it, which was actual hundreds of videos. And I've been very regretful of it ever since. I've always wanted to see those videos again. I also had like AMVs as well. I didn't have any on this channel. It was on a separate channel, but I don't think that'll ever be found because I don't even remember the name of it. But it's just videos I made when I was a kid that I'd really like to be able to look back on and see. So I issued that challenge to anyone that could somehow recover them, but even though there was a big effort to try, it was ultimately a failure. It's impossible. Not even YouTube can recover any of those videos. So I assumed it's just been a dead end for years, but actually, there's been a massive discovery in regards to recovering lost media where a big glitch has actually been found. And I learned about it last night on stream, and there's a very real, actually pretty decent chance that anyone that watched those videos back in 2010 all the way up to 2012 may still have them on their computer without even knowing because Flash, RIP Flash, by the way, that's 6 feet under. That's Valhalla now. We miss you. Flash had a problem, or not even really a problem, had a oversight where it would actually store these videos if you would ever watch them at all. I'm going to show you the video that goes over it in detail and the tutorial on how you can access them, as well as I went down a very nostalgic trip through memory lane last night on stream, so I want to show you all of that, going over some of the old videos and such. But to fast forward, there is a way to access those videos that have been stored on Flash, even if it's been 18 years since you've watched it, if you're on the same computer. It's pretty fucking wild. So, if anyone's been around the channel for over a decade and you've watched any of those like old Gears of War videos of mine from back in the day that I deleted fucking 16 years ago, you might be able to recover all those videos and get yourself a nice paycheck here. Because I will still obviously honor this $25,000 bounty for recovering these videos. That's for the entire kit caboodle. What I've been doing for like the community that's still been actively hunting them is I've been giving them like pieces of it for finding like thumbnails and the data and stuff like that. But like recovering videos, I'll probably do it like on a per video basis because I imagine it'd be very unlikely someone has all fucking 300 to 400, however many it was that I deleted back then. But if you do, you get the whole 25K, but I imagine that probably won't be the case. So it'll be like depending on how many videos are recovered this way, if any. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you what it is because it's extremely fascinating. Even if you never watched any of those, I still think it's something very interesting to watch and learn about anyway. In the description. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it is the same video, huh? Is the one in your DM links to the same thing?
In 2018, a small group of data scientists came across a list of 100 million YouTube videos that was made back in 2010. Taking the opportunity to study how YouTube videos rose and fell over the years, they wrote a script to go through them automatically, but quickly noticed an unfortunate pattern starting to form. If you've never found yourself trailing a faint memory of a YouTube video from 15 years ago, consider yourself lucky because 50% of those videos were deleted.
God, it's such a shame.
There are still people out there who are determined to give you options. The Wayback Machine, with their damn near infinite determination and storage, managed to recover 5% of these deleted videos. Absurd in the grand scheme of things, but realistically not making much of a dent. So when a deleted video pops back in your mind a decade later, maybe even growing in infamy to the point where a search team forms, there are usually only 3 avenues to take. The Wayback Machine, like I said earlier, are re-upload or contacting the person who uploaded it. When all of these routes fail, that's usually when these sorts of cases are considered cold. One search got too big to stop there. That's when the meta started to shift. This is Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret. Back in the late 2000s to early 2010s, this video posed up as a tutorial to
Wait, so does this explain? I mean, it must explain the glitch. Is this how they found it? Is trying to find this one particular thing? The big star. And so it's crazy how much ties back to Super Mario 64. Like the fucking Veritasium video and stuff with like the sun and everything. It is incredible how much gets tracked back to Super Mario 64 in particular. Unbelievable.
The locks and vague, dark secret in Super Mario 64. Most people, given the culture of the time, thought this was going to unlock Luigi. Over 700 1,000 people tried to keep up with this ridiculous, unorthodox tutorial where Mario is blue and every text box is swearing at you, but right in time for the grand reveal, this video pops up.
Oh, classic.
Videos that incite a riot in the comment section don't tend to stay up for long. Not to mention the audio being swapped out to some happy-go-lucky EDM and the jump scare being muted along with it. The whole thing got turned into a bit of Hosk of its former self. So, for 100 different reasons, it got wiped out by the end of 2011. But anyone who's been faked out by a fake tutorial or a fake game trailer or an entirely fake game knows that those things stick with you. So in 2020, with everyone stuck inside, a decent subset of those 700,000 viewers started thinking back to that first time they got jump scared. And every single one ended up in the same forums or Reddit communities with the same sentiment. They couldn't find it. One witness in particular, one with a background in video production, started tracking down all these viewers to make a short passion project.
Hunt for a jump scare.
And through some ridiculous twist of fate, people found it interesting. So interesting, in fact, that the founder of the Lost Media Wiki took the opportunity to kick off a community-wide search for it in its multi-thousand-member Discord servers. Things started to move fast. Someone found the title, then the uploader. They managed to track him down on PSN of all places. He was in the Discord server.
Super Mario 64 Big Star from Lotus Man. So they found a screenshot of it and then reached out to them through the PlayStation Network. Jesus, the Lost Media community is crazy, bro. That's so thorough.
The Internet Archive didn't. Within 2 months, the hunt was declared a cold case. So all 3 routes failed. What's next? In the late 2010s, Adobe announced that they'd be killing off Flash Flare by the end of 2020.
Such a shame.
Once powered, the
Such a
internet was
shame.
ultimately a husk of its former self, and Adobe chose the nuclear option. One Flash developer, Blue Maximum, realized he only had a couple years to outrun the storm, so he created Flashpoint, a project meant to preserve as many Flash animations, games, and websites as possible. He used the same core methods as most other online.
Sunny 2. A classic. Oh, wow. You got the bangers in here.
Scavenger hunts, but their growing popularity gave them an advantage. So when you visit a website and the page has to load some other file, like an image, a video, or a flash game, your browser temporarily stores that in an area that most people call the cache. For the next few days or so, whenever you visit that website again, you might notice it loading a hell of a lot faster, because everything it needs is already on your computer. The developers of Flashpoint knew this better than anybody. Armed with a list of long-lost Flash games, they pioneered a new outlandish technique to find internet stuff. If someone played one of these sought-after games and managed to leave their computer alone just enough for the files to not get deleted, that game would be sitting in the cache. Now, everyone was well called near zero, but if they could get this process out to any subset of their huge audience, then they might be able to find one. So they worked on getting the
They're basically tracking echoes. They are literally hunting like the ghost in the machine. So this is what Archive was telling me. The reason why this falls into like the Lost Media Challenge I issued 6 years ago now, finding like the hundreds of videos I deleted back in 2010 is because if anyone from back in 2010 watched those and I guess kept it around long enough, you can still access that data, which is what this all ties into. So there is somewhat of a glimmer of hope that the old videos from back in 2010 that I vanished in the Shadow Realm are recoverable.
And by the end of their prime, when Flash was finally dead and buried, the results showed for themselves. Out of a list of 32 lost games, Flashpoint had found 6 of them. Naturally, the people looking for Big Star Secret ended up hearing about this miraculous long shot, but with only one video on their mind and no large audience to check, the consensus came down.
Didn't someone try to scam me by saying they found one video? That was a really good scam, though. Legit, that one was a diabolical scheme. Yeah, there was some ne'er-do-well who, when I did the Lost Media Challenge, heard how I described one of the videos as well as the title of one of the videos, and he recreated it with like a camcorder on his own Halo system, on his own system to make the Halo video, to make it look like mine. So I thought I was seeing one of my old videos until I noticed that the names were wrong. It was really smart, but it was so grainy I couldn't quite see the name. So for a while, I almost bought into it. I actually almost got scammed the second time, but I shut it down. True, and then Archive protected me from another one, apparently. Yeah, Archive's been like my guardian angel on this Lost Media journey.
Down to it's impossible. So that video got cast aside and was doomed to sit with the hundreds of other equally unimportant lost YouTube videos for the rest of the time. That was until 4 years later. One searcher, after exhausting every other option, decided to check back in with an old computer for 2011 just to see if he had any.
Man, actually thinking about that now, it's even more cringe because he really did go through a lot of effort because he had to play the game, the same map, and like do the theater mode the same way that I described it, and he had to put in the same music. And it really was pretty impressive, actually. Like, I can't even be mad at it.
Gosh. That's when he realized something strange. In a hidden folder meant for temporary storage, he found 50 very large files with seemingly random names. After further investigation, he realized that these were all videos, spaced out over the course of 2 years. Now, we have to back up a little here to figure out what's going on. Whenever you watched a YouTube video back then, the video will be copied to 2 places, the browser's cache and Flash Player's cache. The browser keeps track of everything in its cache, so there's very little that can stop it from clearing. But Flash Player only keeps track of what it makes in a single session, from startup to shutdown. Here's the issue with that. Shutting down through the menu is fine, but if your computer is shut off in any other way, like holding the physical power button, pulling the plug, or having a power outage, Flash Player will forget to delete his copy of the video.
That's so cool.
Where children
What the
act
fuck?
panic. This is not off the table. So a small team forms with a new goal. Contact everyone who's seen the video. Some managed to pull up tens, if not hundreds, of videos using this newly coined cache method, but none were the Mario Screamer. In May of 2025, however, one witness was pulled out of a comment section with an interesting anecdote. This was a 1 in a million account. Shutting it down is one thing, but it's more likely than not that someone who didn't grow up with or around computers would rely on intuition to turn it off, or more specifically, by using the physical power button. This could be it.
It's just like it's not Optimus RAW. It's not available for RAW drives.
What the hell is a RAW drive? The hard drive was corrupted. 0 bytes were able to be read. It caught fire with the 2 axle. It was dead. And then 4 days later, some other guy shows up like, "Hey guys, is this it?" This is full, unfiltered footage of Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret.
We got it!
47 seconds.
No!
So the last meeting with Peter was checking through his old browser cache as a bit of a weekend activity, not even having the video on his mind, and found it. Unfortunately, he clicked off early, cutting the video off, but the interesting thing about this is that he clicked off. He closed the tab. There was no shutdown to stop the file from clearing, so how did he have it? This is where the scene completely falls apart. Peter had 5,000 videos sitting on his hard drive uncleared for 17 years.
Oh my god, the goat!
His browser was broken. Everything that he'd ever seen on the internet, every image, every video, every game, every little soundbite was all there. Which is a virus. The index file that kept track of everything, the only thing that could mark all those videos for deletion, was gone. So logically, everyone ran to Flashpoint to see if they'd encountered
Holy shit, this guy's got the Library of Alexandria. He's the chosen one. His midichlorian count is unlike anything we've ever seen before.
And they had it. But that's not to say it was uncommon. The standard, universally accepted program that Flashpoint used to check people's cache relied on that missing index file. If someone with Peter's bug ran their exporter, it would say they have nothing in their cache, period. And you might jump to say that their chances could have been better if they somehow knew about this, but this whole conversation led to another revelation. When Flashpoint as a whole uncovered 6 games through internet cache, this was not from 10,000 computers. I'm sure you could assume that, but it didn't even touch the thousands. In fact, the amount of people who checked in with Flashpoint, the total number of people who went out of their way to see if they had anything important in their cache, did not exceed the double digits. Peter's glitch was far, far from the only thing that could stop cache from clearing. The reason that so few pieces of lost media have been found through internet cache is not inherently because it's unlikely, it's because people think it's unlikely. So let's really try to put these odds into perspective. Peter is one of the admittedly few people out there who would know where to find their cache, how to interpret it, and how to find YouTube videos. Not only that, but these traits would also have to overlap with him being aware of this relatively niche lost media hunt, because to be clear, Peter did not remember watching the video. The way all these odds lined up for one of the most prized deleted YouTube videos of all time is almost too good to be true, to the point where it's clear to me that this isn't as much of a miracle as we might think. If cache recovery as a concept could be justified to a mainstream audience, the amount of stuff that could get found is frankly ridiculous. So this video is also a call to action. In the description,
That's so
the program will search your cache for you. frame by frame analysis against a builder.
Oh, Gears of War videos in there. What the fuck? That's so classic. That goes crazy. Whose are those? I wonder. I doubt they're mine. Imagine these are just mine. This dude's got my old Gears shit that I deleted. The main thing I've been trying to relocate for the last 6 years. I deleted this shit back when I was like 15.
Or 500 lost YouTube videos that were deleted as late as 2021. If you have an old computer, or if you have an audience that might be interested in this kind of stuff, please consider reviewing this. This is a huge number of people's last chance, and there is money on the line. I have spent.
Oh my god, wait. Legitimately, he might be flipping through some of my videos. I made so. That is literally my video, by the way. Devil May Cry 4 boss battle number 6. Is that not just one of mine? I did a boss battle video for every different Devil May Cry 4 boss. Yeah, because I gave him these. Okay, thank you. All right, that makes sense. I was like, this is absolutely just some of my old shit when I was like 12. I was going to say. It's crazy I can still recognize the thumbnails.
The line. I have spent hundreds of hours.
Yeah, literally all of these are mine. Okay, that makes so much more sense. These are, correct me if I'm wrong, Archive. These aren't the videos. You were able to find the thumbnails plus the titles, right? Yeah, it's thumbnails and titles. Okay, I thought so.
I have spent.
That's so fucking cool. Oh my god, when I was doing Army of Two Achievement Guides, did that video really have 41K views? That would have been one of my most viewed videos. Holy shit. Are these views accurate to the time period? Because my shit was getting like 100, 200 normally, from what I remember. Yeah, we went through so much data to get this right. That's fucking crazy. That shit must have popped off at some point. I don't remember that. The one I remember, like the first video I had that actually did numbers was Halo 3 Hayabusa Armor Tutorial. That was the first video I ever made to 100,000 views, and then YouTube hit it because it used Il Nino when it cuts. So then I had to change the music out, and I don't remember what I changed it to. But it ruined the video because then the second half is all completely empty. Like in terms of audio, it's just quiet, silence.
100.
God, this had almost 100K. No way. There's no way. There's no way. Call of Duty 4 on top of the map block tutorial old school. You're telling me that had almost 100K views at the time of deletion? It did. We had the archives and data to back it up. What the fuck? Wow. Man, I must have been like really on some shit back when I deleted these. Do you know when I deleted them? Like the year archive? It was 2010, right? It was 2010 into 2011. Because the reason I did it was one, some of them out of embarrassment, because a few of them were quite cringe. And two, I used copyrighted music, and at the time there wasn't a strike system. So I had friends that would upload montages, and if the song got hit, they just lose the channel. So I didn't want to take that risk. So at the time, this was after the Ray William Johnson thing happened. I went through and just fucking wiped it. It was over 2010 and 2012. We did it in batches. We were able to figure out the dates by looking at archives of your Social Blade page. You can see the deleted. Wow, that's super interesting. I thought I did it in like one fell swoop. I don't remember doing it in batches. That's so interesting. Damn, I didn't know this shit was cooking either. Stranglehold.
Well, it happened without us even realizing. Well, it happened without us even realizing, okay? We just got the announcement, right, of our new commander that's coming out in Mercy here. He's the next leadership commander getting ready to come out. And it was funny because the previous video that I did talked about like the two best pairings with him. And it honestly validated what I've been saying. And this is the video that's going to talk about it because I'm going to triple down on this for you guys. Arthur and Luce were the two commanders that we said this guy will work with the best. And there's a reason why. And it's the reason I've been telling you that Arthur and Luce are going to last longer in the game than Gang Gang and BQ. I know it sounds crazy. People have been calling me crazy for saying that, but there is no better proof than what just happened. I'll take you through all of that right now. Okay, everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chansky. I do videos for Riders of Kingdoms all the time. Throw a like on here if you guys enjoyed this video. You get any kind of entertainment out of it. And don't forget to subscribe if you have not. Doesn't cost you anything. I want to go through this, and first and foremost, the giveaway that we're doing, when I was doing the giveaway for $10 Flux, every time I had a video, I announced a winner, and all you had to do was comment on the video to enter for a chance to win. I gave away like 50 of those things. So we're not doing the giveaways anymore, okay? But I would love for you to comment down there. Actually, comment down there and say, we want the Flux back. Give us our money, Chansky. But this is the video that's going to talk about this because I'm tripling down. I've talked about it 2 different times. And we just went through an entire exercise of why. Okay? We have 2 commanders in the game that I have said you need to focus on and get them maxed. One is Arthur, even to today. Okay? Arthur has been out now for what, 14, 15 months now? And Luce is another one. Okay? And Luce's been out for 2.5 years. But let me explain something to you because I've talked about this. I talked about this in my video of the future of Arthur. Arthur must max commander when he came out, okay? And even to today, I put him at a higher investment category than Gang Gang. All right? Gang Gang's great, y'all. I'm a cat player. I love Gang Gang. He's great. He's kind of a one-trick pony because right now we don't have very many combo commanders that do a whole bunch of AoE that you can put secondary. You can't put Arthur secondary because he has to be a primary to be combo. You can put Achilles. So Gang Gang is great because of Achilles. And he's great. He just needs another partner, which we might get into. That might be in the next video when it talks about the schedule of the MGE, the schedule of the generations of commanders. But Gang Gang is kind of a one-trick pony. He has to have a big AoE nuker of combo damage behind him to really make his healing work. All right? But the bottom line, guys, Gang Gang's a single target damage commander. Okay? Generally, those commanders don't last long in the game. All right? They just don't. Belisarius, single target. It didn't last very long. Some people have them. I still use it for swarming. Didn't last very long. Okay? Shajar, single target. Didn't last very long. All right? She didn't last really much at all. She was skippable. We all said she was skippable. William Wallace, totally skippable. Okay, when he came into the game. And if you got him, fine. That's good. You got good synergies with Sun Tzu, but he's single target. Okay, so when we look at cavalry, and we'll talk about Arthur and Gang Gang, okay, I could not find a better reason why. We went through the exercise just the last couple of days. And what happened was, and this is my point I'm trying to make to everybody, because Arthur does a whole bunch of combo damage or combo attacks with his expertise, he procs proc stuff for commanders all the time. Anytime you see there's a chance to proc, a chance to get this, a chance to do a bonus for that, anytime you see that, this dude is like the meta edit. And then you go put some of the different armaments you can when it comes to this. Where's mine? You go put this stuff on him with butterfly and causative. That's what he does. So what happens is we go through an entire spiel on how Mercy here has got a chance to be a really good commander. And it was so funny that you go through this and you look at a second skill and what do you see there? What do you see there? Basic attacks have a 20% chance to immediately reduce the target's truth by rage by 50. Okay. And then you stack that up and you make them lose 100 rage, then you get to stack up all kinds. I mean, guys, there's an instant proc right there that's triggered. And then what do you have on his 4 skill? This is more important than anything. When launching basic attack, this commander troop has a 10% chance to grant a mighty shield. Now, the mighty shield does multiple things because anytime a shield runs out, or what they say is broken, anytime the shield runs out, you get these stacks of 100 rage and stacks of normal damage. You don't get stacks of rage. You stack up the normal damage. So it's super important. Well, what are the commanders that do that? In my previous video, I have a card in the end screen. In my previous video, I literally talk about the potential pairings for our boy Vercingetorix. I literally talk about the 2 commanders you can use. And right in front of our eyes, it's like, Arthur's one, obvious. He makes instant procs go off more often. And then the other one was Luce. Luce's, he's the OG combo commander. He's got a very unique expertise. There's no cooldown on this. So he fires off double basic attacks all the time. On average, once out of every 4 times. Okay? You're increasing your likelihood of doing these instant procs with commanders like this guy. You increase your chances like 25% with Luce. And that's why I said, if you're going to run the new guy with cavalry, it's really easy. You run him with Arthur. If you're going to run him with infantry, you run him with Luce. And that's my point. That's what I'm trying to explain to everybody. Because I get absolutely, people roll their eyes when I'm like, guys, Arthur, more important than Gang Gang. He's going to last longer in the game. And I just proved my point. We get some random commander like Percy here. We get some random commander, and the first 2 people, because of his kit, and not just him, this is what we're going to see in commanders moving down the road. In the future, we're going to see more of this stuff. We're going to see armaments with more procs. We're going to see different things in the game where you have a chance to fire off bonuses, mitigations, different things everywhere. And because our boy Arthur is exceptional at helping you fire off those procs, he is going to last a long. If you don't have Arthur maxed, work on him. Do the dailies for him. Spin the wheel for him. Slowly work on him because he's not going anywhere. He will last for your top 2 cavalry marches longer than Gang Gang. I'm just telling you. He will last longer. I'm trickling down on that. And mainly because we just went through the exercise again. Put out a commander, the 2 best pairings, Arthur, Luce. There you go. There's no better evidence that I can give you. And it's the same thing on the infantry side, guys. Luce, even though he's been out, how long has he been out now? Oh my gosh. He's been out for the better part of 2.5 years. And because of his expertise, even though his 5 target AoE isn't quite as high as BQ's, it doesn't matter. This is what makes him transcend, guys. He will last. Mark my words. In a 2-march infantry setup, Luce will last longer than BQ. You will bench BQ before you bench Luce. Because they're going to give us commanders like this guy that are going to have some effects that give you chances to proc different things or damage. Okay? We love the instant proc damage. Alex, Philip, William, we love that. So if you think they're all of a sudden going to stop giving us commanders that do instant proc stuff, either buffing stuff, taking away rage, doing instant proc damage, if you think they're just going to magically quit giving us commanders that do that, you're high. Like, use your brain. They're going to continue to keep giving us that. And the longer they give us those commanders, the longer Luce is going to last in the meta. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. This is live and in living color. The whole point I've been trying to make for the last 7 or 8 months. Ever since we got these new commanders. We get BQ, I'm like, yeah, I think Luce is probably going to last longer than he is. We got Gang. And I was like, yeah, I think Arthur's probably going to last longer than Gang. Single target. He heals, one trick pony. Like you're gonna bench Gang before you bench Arthur. And that's my point. That's what everybody has to understand. Okay. And I'm making that declaration now. And there's no better evidence than just getting some random commander. They're throwing a freaking leadership commander at us. And the two best pairings for them are, well, if you're going to go with cavalry, you use Arthur. If you're going to go with infantry, you use Luce. And it's that simple. It's not hard to understand that. So, with that being said, if you're an infantry player, let's talk about this for a second. If you're an infantry player and you're running Sun Tzu and BQ, right? And you just run one march, and you're going to wait on the next infantry commanders, go ahead and work on Luce. Work on him. Get the heads for him. He's going to be around. And you're probably going to bench this guy before you bench Luce. You're going to be glad you did. But I know most everybody already has Luce. But on the cavalry side, you're still him and hawing about whether or not you want to put gold heads in the Gang. Well, Arthur is going to have so many more applications in the future than Gang. He just will. He just got one. He literally just got one. And I'm not saying you need to go max mercy to run with Arthur. I'm just saying that this is projecting what commanders are going to give us in the game. And any commanders that have any sort of instant proc for buffing, for damage, for whatever, this guy excels. He excels. Might maketh righteousness. That's right. He's righteous. And that's what I've been trying to say for a long time. It was live and in living color. How those two commanders, I went through the whole exercise. Okay, how do they match up? Who do they pair with? And you look at that and you say, okay, the biggest thing, and just as an exercise, I'm not saying you need to go max mercy, but just as an exercise, I pull up the most important skill he's got, and it's throwing up shields, because it's going to enhance your rage, it's going to enhance your normal damage, and it's going to absolutely buff any cavalry or infantry commander he's with. Now, he does have some synergies with BQ on the rage mitigation stuff, but overall, just give me the extra procs. Give me the extra chances to proc. And just by releasing, just for an exercise, by releasing a commander and going through that process of elimination of what commanders you can and can't use them with, we end up saying, well, Arthur's great. Luce's great. And that's my point. That's what I've been trying to say. Okay? And so, do not sleep on these guys. If you don't have a max, just work on them. You don't have to go spend all your golden heads now. But they're in the wheel, they're in the dailies. Just work on them, because you're going to use them for a long time. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, hold on. If you guys enjoyed this video, please throw a thumbs up on it. Whoa, all kinds of stuff going on here. If you enjoyed this video, please throw a thumbs up on it, give it a like. Love you guys. Get down in my comments, tell me what you think. And with that said, hope you have a great day, broskies. Using our universal commander sculptures, our gold heads, to invest in commanders is the most important decision we'll make playing the game of Rise of Kingdoms and advancing our accounts. And this is going to be the video that's going to talk about this, because I'm going to lay out a roadmap for everybody. I'm going to go through the history of what we've seen, because it's very distinct. We go through a whole cycle of next-gen commanders, and they're generally like single target damage commanders for all 3 troop types, then AoE commanders. And it's really synonymous with what we express. Hey, you need to must match these guys. They got their meta. You got to get them. And when we tell you can skip, we'll go through all of that. So there's been plenty of commanders I've said, hey, you can skip this guy or this gal. And we can go through all that, because we just now are about to start in a whole next generation of commanders with the cavalry that's coming later this summer. So let's prep you for that, because it's not just cavalry, guys. It's going to be infantry, and it's going to be archers. And we're going to go through what to expect, what we've seen, what to max, what to not max, how to save your gold heads. This is the video that's going to go through it. Hey everybody, I'm your boy We're Chatsky. I do videos for Rise of Kingdoms all the time. Love doing these kind of videos. And if you look so kind, leave a like on here. And if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. It doesn't cost you anything. And I just finished up my April and May giveaways for our video contests where I gave the $10 flux every single video over 50 videos for people putting down comments. I would choose a random comment. It was a lot of fun. We might come back to that and do it again. But that whole event has now ended. I still want you to put comments down in the comment section. You guys know me. I love getting down there and talking with you. Well, listen, here's our new guy, Arslan, or as I affectionately like to call him, AA Bob. And he is the next gen archer commander. And so we are getting ready to wrap up this generation, all right? When we talk about next gen, you get a generation of each troop type. And I'm going to go through all these things with you because we've got to lay out a roadmap for how we're going to do this and what we're going to see in the future. Okay, first of all, what you see is that you generally have a generation of all three troop types that are single target damage commanders. Okay? Single target damage commanders. Then you have a generation of AoE commanders. Okay? And so when you have this, you got to expect what's coming. And we can go through what's happened in the past and we can project what's going to happen in the future. And the first thing I would start with, now this was kind of a while ago, but this started, I couldn't remember if this was Gen 9 or Gen 10. But we're going to come back here because cavalry always starts the next generation of the cycles. And we got Belisarius Prime, okay? For the most part, he was a skippable commander when he first came into the game. It was literally before I was even doing content creation. I liked him a lot, but I'm a card player. And he was not a must-max commander by any means. So if you didn't max this guy, you were fine. All right, now if you swim stuff, you swim flags, you do all that stuff, you can obviously have him max because he's amazing at that. But he came out in May of 2024, and he started a generation that started the single target generation. After him, we got a guy named William Wallace. Okay, what happened with William Wallace? Well, he was another single target commander for infantry. So Cavs, infantry, archers. That's how it is. Cavs, infantry, archers, Cavs, infantry, archers. So we get the infantry and he's single target. And honestly, for the most part, he was what? He was skippable. You didn't necessarily have to have this guy. He came out in July of 2024 after Belisarius. After him, what's next? Archers? Shajar came out. Single target. It's the weird healing effects and all the stuff that she does. But by and large, she was a skippable commander. There's still so many players that don't even have them. So many players that don't even have William Wallace. Had a ton of players. I mean, a ton. That don't even have Belisarius. That was that generation. It was a single target damage generation, and Shajar wrapped it up. She came out in the fall of 2024. Okay. Then we went through the kind of the leadership siege cycle. But then it started back over with cavalry. Well, since we got single target for cavalry, infantry, and archers, what did we get in the next generation? We got this guy. AoE ass kicker. Let's go. Okay? Must-max command. Arthur, fantastic. Gonna be great. Gonna have synergies with all kinds of people for the next couple of years. All right? And I'll talk about why I think he's gonna outlast Gate Gang. We'll talk about that in a few. But he came out early 2025. And if you remember, he came out kind of early because Subutai in the actual MGE, because it was a special event type deal, Subutai in the MGE did not come out until like March. It was weird. They were announced early, but it didn't come out until March, but you could get this guy really early. But he was on that cycle. Then we got infantry. Guess who we got? We got BQ. When did he come out? He came out in May. There you go. AoE ass kicker. Let's go. Must-max. Gotta get this guy. And then we got the most broken commander of broken commanders, We went from cavalry, infantry, and now archers. We got Chin. AoE off the charts, kill everybody, insane commander. He came out in late June, early July of 2025. Okay? So that was your AoE cycle of Arthur and BQ and Chin. And what do they all have in common? At least from this content creator, I said, they're must-max commanders. If you're going to run the best of each troop type, gotta have those guys. And when they came out, absolutely. And they're going to have longevity in the game. You're not going to have to worry about benching these guys anytime soon. Well, after Chin came out, okay, we then got into another round. Now, we did have some funny business go on in 2024 with Ragnar. You know, he was tied to a KDK, so he was kind of an extra commander. And he was an AoE infantry that gave us skill damage. And then the same thing happened in the fall of 2025 with Achilles. Okay, now these commanders aren't necessarily must-max. Like Ragnar was really, really good, and I advise people who are running a bunch of infantry, like you're running 2 or 3 infantry marches. When he came out, it was like, all right, you gotta get him. But if you're only like one march, you're good. You can skip them. But with that being said, we got Achilles, but that is not part of the next gen commanders. These are KDK commanders. Okay, the next gen commander that came out after Chin was our boy. Where is he? Where's my guy? Is he up here at the top? No, he's down there somewhere. He's got like a weird power structure because he's always so far down. I don't know why. But let me go ahead and pull him up. It is our boy Gang Gang. Okay? Now, since we got Arthur, BQ, and Chin, it started the next generation of the 3 troop types. And it went from AoE to what now? Single target. Okay? Now, Gang Gang, who I think is really strong, but I have never said this guy is a must-max commander. Like, he's really good and really strong, but he's kind of a one-trick pony. Dude, y'all, must-max commanders, like, if you think about it, the must-max commanders in this game are the commanders you can put with anybody, and they do really, really well. They carry marches, all right? Gang Gang does not carry marches. Gang Gang is kind of a one-trick pony. And the reason why I bring that up, let's lose this guy. Where's he at? Oh, wow. We'll figure this thing out. But the reason why I say he's a one-trick pony is because he's got to have a big-time combo damage dealer behind him for him to be effective with a Starlight effect in his healing. Because his healing is really broken. It really is broken. Because he does this weird healing where he heals set wounds. They can't be set wounds again. It's weird. Weird. But single target damage, what really a must-max commander? All right? After we got cavalry, we got infantry. And we were going to get a single target damage commander. Well, that's what we got in Sun Tzu. The only difference, and they kind of switched things up on this, is that they added an AoE effect to them with a range generation coming. And he's kind of a weird single target damage. He's a neutral, but he benefits from AoE true damage. Not a ton of AoE damage, but it's plenty. It's technically still an AoE commander, but technically, to be honest, he's a single target damage commander. And after we got Sun Tzu, then who do we get? Archer's next. Who's next? Baldar's AA Ron. Eventually, I like to call him AA Ron. Okay? And so, anybody that knows Key and Peele, you guys get that. But from this standpoint, this guy is the same as Sun Tzu, that he's a single target leader, right? Not even really a 2,000 damage factor. But he does pierce stacks, which do AoE damage. So he's kind of like Sun Tzu. But the bottom line is, he is not a must-max commander. So 5 out of the last 6 single target damage commanders we have said are not must-max commanders. This guy is not. If you're running 2 Archer marches, he's really good. He's going to give you a really good upgrade for your second Archer march. But he's not a must-max commander. Okay? So him, that's 1. All right? And when you come in here to Sun Tzu, this is the only guy we've said that you guys gotta max this guy. He's just too strong, too powerful. But before him, there was Gang Gang, not a must-max commander. And then the other single target damage commander was the generation before, which was William Wallace with Shajar, all right, and Belisarius. So none of them are must-max commanders. So single target damage commanders are not going to be must-max. And you know what that means for everybody right now? Because you don't necessarily have to max this guy. All right? You didn't have to max all bars in, and you didn't have to max gang gang. All right. So you should have some heads. Now you might have to put a bunch of heads in the Suns in your finishing window. But here's what's going to happen. Now that this generation of single target damage commanders is coming to an end and we're getting ready to get good ones, now they have released this now, or I should say released. They have announced we're Vercingetorix, okay? Percy is rolling on. Because everybody's butchering his name. So he's the next leadership commander. He'll be on the MGE, which is a little weird because typically we get a garrison and rally. But he's a buffing commander. All right, we brought through his skills. You can check out my last two videos that I've done with this guy. And he's got some really good synergies, but he's not going to be applied to like the best single march for any troop type. He's not going to take the place of that. Now, he's got some versatility to maybe make shit you could put him in with cavalry to get maybe put in as one of the best forward commanders in a 2-march setting for cavalry. Maybe infantry. I don't know. We got to test this guy. But he's not going to be a must-max commander by any means. We are going to get the next round of generation, which will be cavalry starting it off like it always is. We are going to get we're going to be in the AoE generation. We're back to the AoE. This is the last AoE MGE next gen commander we got. That doesn't count Achilles. Achilles counts for KDK commanders. He won a generation commander. All right. So from there, we're about to get AoE. And so just get ready because this is coming late summer. He's coming late summer after Percy comes out and that cycle goes through. We're going to get another cavalry commander that's going to be AoE count. All right. And he's going to finally get cavalry players like full bona fide next gen pairings for cavalry. But that's only if you have gang gang. But getting another AoE combo commander will finally get cavalry. And he's going to be crazy. Or she's going to be crazy. Whoever it's going to be, it's going to be nuts. And so from there, just get ready because after cavalry, what's coming? Infantry. And I know we just got Sun Tzu, and that was the one outlier of the last 6 single target damage commanders for all the troop types. He was the only one that we said was must max. But if we're getting the next generation, and the cavalry combo is going to be AoE, the infantry is going to be AoE. Now, I don't know if he's going to be crazy 5 target like these two cats here. I think we target the situation with infantry AoE. But get ready. Because if he fits the bill or she fits the bill, whatever that infantry commander is going to be, it's probably going to happen in early fall of 2026. They got a chance to be a must-max commander. And then after infantry, we're going to get archers. And guys, I'm just telling you, after this dude came out, all right, the last 3 archer releases we got is Shajar, Jin, and this guy. Okay? And I think he's really good, like I said, but single target damage with the pierce effects that he does, I don't think he's must max. So just get ready because after we get the next generation of cavalry AoE, infantry AoE, we're going to get a crazy archer AoE. Plus, they're planning on releasing another KDK in 2026. Now, nobody knows when that's going to be. Don't listen to anybody who says, well, that's next month. But like they did for Ram, and like they did for Achilles, okay? They've given us KDK specific commanders that have or have not been part of the meta. All right? Ragnar was maybe for just a little bit. Achilles is gonna be for a while. Okay, so when the archers come, if you archer players, just get ready. You're gonna load up. You're gonna have all bars in. Then you're gonna have another KDK commander. Then you're gonna have in late 2026, you're gonna have the next generation of AoE archer commanders. So that's what we gotta prepare for, guys. Like, I have been very, very careful because I get excited and I overhype stuff all the time. But I'm very particular about saying this is a must-max commander or this is not a must-max commander. I won't talk about filter. But like, this is a must-max commander. This is not a must-max commander. Okay? That's how it's been. This is a must-max commander. All right? This is not a must-max commander. And it generally is tied to single target damage versus AoE. And we know that we've just gone through an entire generation of cavalry, infantry, and archers that are singletary. Okay, with the infantry being the exception of any sort of mismatched commander. So we're getting ready to hit. Just get ready for it, guys. We're going to all get real excited about big time AoE damage commanders for the next generation. It's coming late summer. It's going to continue into the fall. And then by the end of the year, we're going to have a cavalry, an infantry, and an archer AoE ass kicker commander. And there's going to be a whole lot of mustaches going around. And those of us idiots doing content creation is going to be like, is he a mustache? I don't know. Is she a mustache? Yeah. Like, let's get ready. Because the odds that the next round of cavalry, infantry, and archers as mustaches is going to be meta is very, very, very high. Cavalry, I would say almost with full certainty, 100%. The next commander is going to be a mustache commander, AoE, ass kicker. If you're running 2 cavalry punches, got to get it. Infantry, I would probably put at about a 60 or 70%. AoE, we're going to say, hey, it's meta, she's meta, mustache commander. But I only give it 60 or 70% because Sun Tzu is so powerful as a signatory damage commander. Archers, yes. You're either getting one of the two. You're either getting a KDK story archer commander doing crazy AoE, or the next generation of archer commander doing crazy AoE. So just get ready. It is almost a certainty that before the end of the year, we're going to have a cavalry commander that is meta. And we're going to have an archer commander that is absolute meta. Infantry, 60 to 70%. But that's just what you got to look forward to. All right, that's what you got to look forward to. If you're an infantry commander, if you have not, or if you're an infantry player and you haven't invested in the Sun Tzu, you got to do that. If you're an archer player and haven't, and got archer marches, haven't invested in Jin, you got to do that. If you're a cavalry and haven't invested in Achilles, you got to do it. I know it sucks, but you got to do it. And then you have other commanders like Arthur, like Gang. Okay, Arthur is a must-max. I think even to this day. Guys, he's going to last longer than Gang. You've heard me say that many, many times. He just, okay, here's what I mean, okay? When I say Arthur transcends, here's what's so funny. Because you go back to my last video when it comes to Mercy here, the two people, the two commanders we say he's got the best synergies with, because look at this. On his second skill, he's got a 20% chance to immediately reduce the troops rate by 50. Go down to 3 seconds. Okay, well, you got a proc there. That's an instant proc to reduce the target's range. And then you look at his fourth skill, he's got an instant proc to put up a shield. Putting up a shield with this Mercy guy does all kinds of crazy stuff. It gives you normal damage buffs. It gives you rage gain. It gives you all kinds of stuff. And this is my point. I think I can't make a clear point to him. Okay? And I'll go into it in the next video that I do. That when you look at this overall, all right, that is proof is in the pudding. The proof is there. They give us a commander like this, and the first 2 guys we talk about, Arthur and Luce. Arthur and Luce. Those are the first 2 guys we talk about. And why do we talk about them? Because they have instant proc synergies. And they're going to last in the game longer than their contemporaries, longer than their modern day guys. Arthur, I believe, will last longer than Gang. And then Luce, where's he at? Because of his expertise, he will last longer. Now, it's going to be a long time from now. But you're going to bench this guy before you bench Luce. I've been saying it for like a year. And I couldn't have any better. I could not have any better example of that than getting a new commander. And the first thing we look at is the fact that, they got a 20% proc to reduce the range of the target. They got a 10% proc to go out a shield. That does all kinds of stuff. Well, who gives more procs than anybody? It's Arthur and Luce. That's my point. Okay? So when it comes to this, I'll go into more of a rant on another video for that. But this is what you got to look forward to in the future. Hope you guys got a little bit out of this. Get ready. Because like I said, the biggest takeaway from this is that before the end of the year, it is almost 100% certainty that we are going to have a cavalry meta commander you got to go max, and an archer meta commander